All right, so let's double check that the load method works here when we pass in an XML element. And then we will just go ahead and call it even there and build the data set. Okay, so let's do the following. Let's create another data point. Data point D2 equals new data point. And then let's create, down here where we create the XML document, we create doc2 equals new XML document, just like that. And just like doc, we're going to do a load XML as a poor man's way. I'll call it root2 as a poor man's way to get a root element in there. Okay, so D to XML is the element version. Okay, so let's go ahead and try and load. So let's go d2.load the element D to XML for doc2. Okay, just like that. And then we'll go doc2 dot document element dot append child d2 to XML for doc2. And then let me comment this out, and let's go doc2.save to console.out and run it. Ta-da! So there it is. Exact same thing, except now it's been loaded from XML, so that seems to be working. So we can go ahead and ditch this and go work on our data set. Okay. Now, because we've already done some of this work earlier in the data point object, the data set is really just a collection of data points, so it's going to be fairly straightforward. First of all, we're going to need a place to store these, so let's use the list, and it's going to be a list of data points, and let's call it capital D data. Okay. We'll need a constructor, public data set, and the default constructor will do the following: data equals new list of data points, and I don't know how big it's going to be yet. Okay. Now let's create a public void load method, and in this one we will pass in the XML element and data set. Oh, you know what? It's bad form to do this first. Let me do the public XML element to XML document doc. Right, that way at least you'll be able to tell what the format should look like when we use the load method. And it's going to be exactly what you expect. So we're going to need an XML element and dataset. And dataset is going to equal doc.create element dataset, like that. Now in the dataset element, we're going to append a bunch of data point elements, but those are super easy to get, and I'm going to do it like so. So for each data point D in data, actually I don't even need that. Let's just do n dataset dot append child d dot to XML for the current document. All right. When that's done, I can return n dataset and be done with it. So let's go ahead and test that real quick. Let me hit Control Z here and undo my delete. Hopefully you haven't lost that. Otherwise, sorry. Type that out again. So there's our data point. And actually, let me go ahead and do it this way. Paste of input, output. So I'm going to create a data set with this single data point just to check that that works. So let's make a data set ds equals new data set. All right, now ds dot data dot add. We're going to add the data point d, like that. And then we're going to need an XML document. Doc equals new XML document, like so. Doc.load XML root. Okay. And I decided to go this way with loading the data set from an XML element instead of from a document, because that way you can have a document which contains multiple data sets in it. Because who knows, you might be doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And obviously it's very simple to make changes. So let's do this, doc.append child dataset .2xml for the current document, like that. And we'll do doc.save to console.out. Save, hit F5. And I appended it to the wrong place. Sorry, Shift F5. Document element append child. Let's try that. There we go. Okay, so root is our XML document, and then what I appended into it was the entire data set. So here's our data set with our single data point. There's all of our data. Awesome. So that appears to work. So now that we can export it, let's figure out how to import it. So public void load XML element and data set. And this will seem very familiar. All right, so let's do, what do I need to do here? So for each XML node, lowercase n node, in n data set dot child nodes. So each one of these nodes is going to be an element node, and it is going to be a data point element. Okay, that's what it should be as long as the format's right. So let's go ahead and make a data point d, and it's going to be equal to a new data point, and this is going to be built out of node, but let's cast that into an XML element, because right now it is an XML node, right? Because child nodes is a list of XML nodes. And then what am I going to do? I guess data.add d, just like that. Okay, so let's do this similar trick and go see if it works. So let's make a ds2 equal to new data set, like that. And what I'll do down here is create a second doc2 equals new XML document, just like before. doc2.load XML root, like that. Okay, so let's go doc2 dot, or I'm sorry, ds2 dot load. I need to load from the XML element. I can get that by looking at ds2xml, right? That is the XML element version. All right, so hopefully that will load, no problem. After that, I guess what I can do is I'll use the same trick, doc2 dot document element dot append child. What is it? ds2 this time dot 2xml for doc2, like that. And then I will do the same thing, doc2 dot save to console dot out, and cross your fingers. And there it is. All right, maybe let me press enter here. So I'll make doc2, I'll give it a different root name so we know for sure that we're looking at the real deal. And there you go. Root 2 contains the data set, which contains all of the data points, of which there's only one, not particularly interesting. So that seems to be working. So that is good to go. So for an exercise, why don't we do something like this? So let's create a data point array D equals new data point array of size 4. All right. And let's create double array input equals new double array of size 2. And output equals new double array of size 1. So just to let you know what I'm doing here, I'm going to go through and create a data set that is the XOR data, just for good measure, as sort of an example, and stuff it in there. So let's do it like this. So D0, well, sorry, first let me tell you what I'm doing. So let's do true XOR true equals false. So let's go like this. Input 0 equals 0. Input 1 equals 0. Output 0 equals 0. Right? Not too exciting. Oh, sorry. This is true, true, false. I just did false, false, false. So both inputs are 1. The output is 0. Okay, so let's go like this. D0 equals new data point. And it's going to be a data point made up of the input and output values I just showed you. And then we will say, I guess we need a data set to put this stuff into. Data set ds equals new data set. All right. So then I can go ds.add, or sorry, ds.data.add D0. All right. Now, way down here, let's print results. So let's do the same deal. XML document doc equals new XML document doc.load XML root doc.document element append child ds.toXML of doc, and then doc.save to console.out. See if that works, and there it is. So there's our first one, 110. That seems to work. So now what I'll go do is I will copy and paste this 4 times and come back in a second. Okay, through the power of editing, I have just taken this and pasted it 3 more times. So here is true, false, true, false, true, true, and false, false, false. They're all put into my data point array D1, D2, D3, and they all have the, let's see, 101, 011, 000 values. Everything else is the same, so let's run it. And here's our new output. There's our root of our element, or our document, sorry. Here's our data set with 4 data points, 110, 101, 011, 000, just like that. And once again, I'm going to do a quick cheat to make sure we can load these things from XML and we're good to go. So ds2 equals new data set, like that. And we need a new document, doc2 equals new XML document. This is going to be the same, but this is doc2, root 2, comment this, and I'm running out of time, so I just spliced that right there. It's exactly as before, so let's run it, and here we are with our root 2 element, 110, 101, etc., etc., etc. So that is good to go. I'll put up the XML so you can test your loading. And that's all for now. Later.